Hey there, everybody. As you can see by the phenomenal structure, you can see I'm hanging out in the gateway. This is right at the entrance to the hub. Look at all the people packed in here. The gateway is the place to connect with peers, to get all the latest Cisco news and share stories and share successes with one another. If we swing around this way, you can see we're surrounded by people building their professional network. They're having fun here. They're getting involved with educational activities. Some of them are even winning cool prizes back over here as well. We've got customer success stories coming up here as well. And then directly across from us is the focus of our next segment. We're going to start talking about DevNet for the next few minutes. This is one of our favorite areas of the Cisco show floor and one of our favorite parts of the Cisco ecosystem. DevNet's doing amazing things, and we're headed toward that DevNet Innovation Showcase. We're going to toss it back out, throw it back out over to Rob in the studio, and I will see you over in the DevNet zone in just a couple of moments.
All right, Steve, thank you so much. Steve, please go get over there because there's a ton of information to cover. I've been waiting to be able to get into this topic. Not sure if we've heard Susie We Speak Not. That's probably what's going to come up in the here as our lead-in a bit. I'm going to have Chloe Kaufman and another gentleman, I'm forgetting his name, but he's going to be here with me. We're going to talk specifics on DevNet, one of my favorite areas because when I blink, everything absolutely changes because that is the market that we're playing with and that all the creative people that are running DevNet are bringing us into and helping Cisco convert into this notion of how do we become a much more software-focused, developer-oriented, cohesive company centered around code and what can be done more efficiently with automation, centralizing our API libraries, making them all consistent across product lines, everything. So I think Steve, I heard, is already ready and set up. And Igram, I got a question for you. Sorry, I'm getting new notes on the as we do this here. What is your familiarity with DevNet? Was it new to you coming in, being security focused?
Well, I have to say that I've seen kind of, because I'm at Cisco for like 7 years now, so I've kind of seen this evolution, right? So let's say 7 years ago, it wasn't such a big hype, but at the moment, it's all about DevNet at Cisco Live, for example.
Right.
And I see this as as we change our technologies and we make sure that we've got all the APIs and all the sorts of different products. We actually make it accessible to our customers.
Yeah.
Programmability has become a really hot topic for them.
No, you're right on.
And I also feel like we are really moving away from us just giving this product to the customer saying this is how you can configure them.
Right, and how you're going to have to interact with it.
This is not how it works anymore, right? It's
exactly.
like, okay, how can I bring it into my infrastructure and make sure I hook it up with all sorts of APIs to my existing infrastructure, right? And in security, it's a big topic because, I mean, every customer of mine has like on average 20 security products.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times they are from different vendors, right?
Right.
So how could they integrate it together? And that's where, that's why APIs is so important in cybersecurity space as well.
Yeah, a lot of times you need a way to, different customers have embarked on their automation side, so they need a way to work our products and new technologies into a platform they're already working with, or maybe it's all the way back to how they're doing their own software development release cycles. We need to be able to play friendly with that as well. I think Steve is ready. Yeah, all right. Steve is ready over at the show floor. Steve, take it away.
I am. Thank you very much, Rob. I appreciate it. So now, as I mentioned, we are in the DevNet zone, and specifically we're hanging out near the Start Now zone back over here, and I've got Kareem Iskander with me. How are you, Kareem?
Nice to meet you.
Look at you, you're looking dazzling and sparky today. You're having more fun than anybody should ever be allowed to have. All right, so Kareem is a developer advocate with us here at Cisco. I'm so glad for the opportunity to talk with you here. DevNet has got so many things going on for so many people. We help people start with programmability, great learning content. We've got our sandboxes going on. What are you going to talk us through here as far as what's going on around us?
So what we've done this year, we've created this new zone for people that are trying to get started with DevNet, and we called it the Start Now Zone. And with the Start Now Zone, we are basically offering back-to-back Coding 101, Coding 102 classes for network engineers who are trying to get started with Python and coding, getting to know what APIs are. So we're running this every day, back-to-back for the last and the next day or so of the show. The other thing that we've done that we get a lot of questions about is, well, I'm trying to accomplish this task, or I have this use case. So what we've done is we've created a dedicated area. We called it the mentor area, and in the mentor area you can come book time with us, with one of our developers in DevNet, and we talk about APIs. What are you trying to accomplish? We walk you through the assets that we have, our learning labs, our code exchange, the code snippets that we have posted for you on our developer.cisco.com site. So you can come do that. If you don't know anything about DevNet, which I hope you do know by now, we have this area where you can come talk to one of our engineers about what is DevNet and how do you get started with. The area is called the Start Now Zone. It's within the DevNet zone here, and we have our best people on it.
That's like a total overview. I want to go back to what you were talking about with mentors here a moment ago, because you kind of put them both in. First of all, is this the first time that we've offered the Start Now Zone?
That is correct. That's the first time we've done it.
All right, so keep looking for it in a show near you that you will be attending the next time Cisco Live rolls around. Let me go back to this mentor idea. For the people who are watching the broadcast here who don't have an opportunity to be with us here in Barcelona, do they have to do the mentor program live, or can we offer this to them extended even beyond Cisco Live?
So to talk to one of us, there are multiple ways, right? For a sit-down one-on-one with us, we have the mentor area. You can reach us outside on our developer.cisco.com, where we have a WebEx Teams space where you can come ask these questions, and most of our team is there waiting for your questions and waiting for us to answer them.
Who was the driving force behind Start Now and behind the mentorship program?
It was actually the attendees. We listened and we heard that we want more coding classes. We want to know what can we do with DevNet. And they spoken to our SVP, Susie Wee, and it basically came down to us, like, we need to create this area. We need to have this area known in the world of solutions, where somebody that is worried about, coming to the DevNet zone because they've never done any programming, we want a comfortable zone, a welcoming zone for them to get started. And so this is where it came from.
I actually really love that, because we talk so often about what it is that we are doing within our own Cisco vacuum. We've got brilliant people here all around us. Susie is amazing. She's the head of what's going on over here at DevNet, but letting the customer kind of drive what it is that we do and removing that intimidation factor. I've talked to a lot of people at past Cisco Live events and I've said, have you been in the DevNet zone? And their response is, well, I don't really know what to do. I haven't really gotten started, but I want to do it someday. What do you say to those people who are saying, I'll get to it someday. I really want to try it, but now's not the time. What do you say to them?
Well, we have the Start Now Zone. Yeah. So come by, find one of us. We're all passionate about APIs. We're all passionate about development and getting you started with all of what we know and what we've learned throughout this journey.
What about just making it simple and easy for people to access? And I don't think we can hammer that home enough. This is not as complicated as it sounds. I know there are a million things you can do within education, within DevNet, but how about just making it as easy as possible for people?
Yeah, I mean, this is essentially our goal, right? We've created this idea of journey for you outside of the DevNet zone, so you can actually go and start with a simple learning lab. Everything that we've done here, everything that you see here, all our coding sessions, all of the use cases, are available on learninglabs.com, where you can start at home and learn the coding 101. So if you don't really want to come here, which I suggest, you should come and hang out with us, and you want to do it at your convenience of your own living room, learninglabs.cisco.com is a place to be too.
Learninglabs.cisco.com over and over. Karim, thank you so much. I appreciate the overview. We're going to head back to the studio, but just for a moment, because we're going to keep hanging out here at DevNet.
Thank you, Steve. Well, that was great. Great to hear that. learninglabs.cisco.com. And I think this is also extremely relevant to all of you who are watching at home. If you want to get started and you feel like, okay, I don't really know where to start, please go to learninglabs.cisco.com, and you can go and find the courses that take you from the scratch on how you can get started with scripting, with Python, with writing code, and how you can use that with our Cisco gear as well. So Rob, are you excited about Susie Wee's talk?
Yeah, no,
I am.
Susie Wee is always exciting. In fact, one of the things I remember, I don't know if you ever saw this presentation Susie Wee did. I don't remember if it was Cisco Live or not. It may have been, but the DevNet is doing stuff constantly around the world physically, but they also pour a ton of resources into their website, as you already called out. And they are about learning, and they're really about passion. And you talk about being afraid of going over there because you haven't done something or not. Oh my gosh, that's the last thing you should be afraid of. They are so charismatic about how they're handling development. If you're afraid of anything, it should be that you're going to get hooked. That you're going to go over there and you're going to be hooked, and you're going to be wanting to do different things.
I think you need.
Oh, did my mic die?
Sorry, yeah, your mic died.
Well, let me repeat that.
Yes, please.
They are very passionate people over there, and what they're doing is they're making it so easy and so engaging. If you were afraid of anything, you should be afraid of getting kind of hooked and saying, okay, how much time am I starting to spend on this stuff? Because you have so much fun with the learning and the passion that they share. But the benefit of that is that so much of what they are doing over there translates directly, very, very quickly into doing your job more efficiently. Because when we talk about interacting with APIs, or be it SDKs, or getting into scripting and things and figuring out, well, where do I go beyond scripting and simply interact with things on a basis that says, I'm tired of doing the redundant things. I want to get more interactive and intelligent about what I do. They've got answers for that. You know what, I forgot what I was going to say. Well, the thing with Susie Wee, though, remember, she once did a whole presentation on stage holding her baby. Did you ever see that presentation?
Oh, no, I haven't.
Never seen that done before. And everybody just loves it because she is so smooth and so easygoing.
She's an amazing person.
And she's holding a baby the entire time, is sleeping there, and she's doing her whole presentation, and the audience is just, wrapped up.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, I hear that Nish is ready. So, Nish, you're at DevNet. You're going to tell us more about that. Over to you, Nish. Thanks.
Thanks, Agrim. Yes, I'm here in DevNet, and I'm here with Adrian. Hi, Adrian. How are you doing?
Nisha. Very good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. So we're here in DevNet.
Welcome.
Tell us a little bit around the co-creation zone that we're in.
Yes, so hello, everybody. So we're right now in the co-creation zone. This is the innovative hub from DevNet. You see, we're going to show a couple of solutions that we brought here for our attendees at Cisco Live Europe this year. And are we ready to show them around?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, let's see what's
so
you've got here.
First one, we wanted to showcase the power of Cisco DNA Center APIs. What we've done, we've built an augmented reality application that actually interacts with the DNA Center running the infrastructure on the floor here. We have 4 access points, and we get statistics, live information from these access points from DNA Center as it's happening, clients connecting, and all of that. Next, we're going to move along. Here, what we've done with Cisco Container Platform, we're trying to showcase check-in, check-out experience for a retail store, right? So with this, we have a facial recognition solution that we're using the NVIDIA Jetson and the Cisco Container Platform to actually make it a seamless experience for people getting into a shop with a QR code and their face. They get authenticated, they walk in, pick up the products that they want, and then they walk out, and everything is pretty much seamless for them. A nice experience,
yeah, but
shopping
Adrian, I'm
experience.
quite intrigued
Yes.
by this device here. So could you tell us a bit more about what that is?
Yes, so like I was saying, the NVIDIA Jetson, in this case, is running our machine learning algorithm for facial recognition, right? So this is where part of the magic happens. The other major component in this is the Cisco Container Platform, where we have our Kubernetes on-prem solution, right? So we have our application running in there, and also there's a component running in the public cloud. So for privacy concerned people, especially around Europe, you now have the option of running Kubernetes on-prem, so you don't need to run it in the cloud anymore.
Right.
Perfect.
Okay.
And then the third demo that I wanted to show you that we brought here for our attendees is the Meraki Mv Cameras. The brand new ones, they have the option of counting people. So what we've done here is that we have on the floor in different sections of the DevNet zone, Meraki Mv cameras installed so that we can count the number of people in, for example, a specific workshop. We want to know, yes, how many people have been there today or last day, so that we know and we can keep track of the number of people. There's no facial recognition yet, but there's people counting at this point with the Meraki Mv cameras.
Great, and I'm really intrigued by this DevNet smart mirror. So what is this demo that you're showing here?
Yes, so this is actually the point of interaction with our Meraki Mv demo. So you would speak with the DevNet mirror, and you would ask it how many people there are there, and there's some Google technology involved in this, also text-to-speech and speech-to-text that we're using for this. So that's your point of interaction with the demo, basically.
Great, thank you, Adrian.
Thank you
All
so
right,
much.
so we're now going to go back to Rob in the studio.
All right, guys, welcome back. We're in the studio, and we're going to get a little bit deeper here in DevNet. We've got a few friends, some new, some old, joining me in the studio. On the far side, Chloe. How are you doing, Chloe?
It's great to be here, as always, Rob.
You're in a new role. We'll talk about that in just a moment.
I am.
Then Charles, right?
Yes.
Is that correct? Oh, thank gosh, I got the names right. I'm not going to do last names, but I think they'll put it underneath here. And as we were talking a little bit about briefly earlier, because you guys, I blink and everything in DevNet has accelerated and changed, and you guys are passionate and young and just changing the world and moving that big ship of Cisco along with you, and I appreciate that because it's a lot of fun. But specifically around Exchange, and when I first heard Exchange, I'm like, what? You know, I'm thinking Microsoft or something like that, and we have our love-hate relationship with Exchange. This has nothing at all to do with it, so don't worry about Exchange at this point. From that, we want to talk about two different kinds of Exchange specifically with DevNet.
Yeah.
So Chloe, the first one is ecosystem, correct? What is ecosystem?
So can I take it back a second? Let me
Okay.
talk about Exchange, Cisco DevNet Exchange.
Thank you.
So we've always been about, DevNet's mission has been about empowering the developer, right? From learning about Cisco's technologies to learning more about code with the learning labs and the sandboxes. And what we found with these open programmable platforms is that this innovation can happen. We can solve business problems, right? And this is done by using code. So what we've done is we've put both of the code and the solutions together under one roof, and we're calling it DevNet Exchange.
Okay.
So it is comprised of two components, ecosystem and code exchange. So in ecosystem exchange, we're talking about the business solutions. So what it is a catalog. It's growing. It's got 1,500 solutions on there now that solve business needs, essentially. So you can go on there, browse, explore. As an independent software vendor, you can act, or an individual developer, you can actually post your solutions there. So
that's key, right? Because the whole idea is we didn't create all those.
Right.
This is you're enabling a community, and this is part of how they exchange.
Yeah,
hey, I get
there
it.
we go.
Yeah,
no, absolutely. So it's a place to market and amplify your solutions to Cisco buyers and sellers.
Okay.
And now, and also though, the other side to that is as a Cisco customer, now you can find those solutions that can drive business value and that can solve your business problems.
Don't reinvent the wheel. Work with some smart developers. Get your developers in touch with our developers.
Absolutely. We're creating an ecosystem. There's the other word.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so the ecosystem side you represent. And Charles, this is a good place to bring you in and talk a little bit about that other part of Exchange. Now on your shirt, obviously you're a coder, you code as well?
Yeah,
I remember
software development background,
Chloe was in collaboration back when I first met her.
That's true.
And she was doing development on that side of things. And so live it, learn it, code it. I like your shirt. So tell me about the other side of Exchange.
Okay, so what Code Exchange is it's a curated set of GitHub repos.
Okay.
And they're there to help developers create applications using Cisco technologies and products. So if you go to Code Exchange, within it, you'll find hundreds of repos, and these are contributed by Cisco engineering teams, by our ecosystem partners, by open source communities, and by individual contributors.
Okay.
And anyone can use the code they find there to just accelerate their development of applications involving Cisco products, using our APIs, using our SDKs.
Okay, perfect. So then, Chloe, make this contrast the difference, because I was trying to think of where this would be. I want to switch microphones. They were telling me it may be cutting out, so I'm just going to go with this for safety. Draw the contrast to make sure we don't misunderstand what we look to one part of Code Exchange versus Ecosystem Exchange. Ecosystem Exchange is?
Yeah, so in Ecosystem Exchange, it is the fully packaged built solutions that you can go explore. So
it's really turnkey.
And really what we're targeting there is a place, it's a marketplace for our Cisco customers to go in. And now we do tie it back a little bit to the developer, because what we want to say is if you have built and innovated on our platform, we now have a location for you to post those things.
Gotcha.
But what we're talking about Ecosystem Exchange is that catalog where our customers can come in and find solutions that solve business problems. And let me give you an example maybe.
Please,
and I don't want to get too technical in the weeds here. I know we are.
No, I'm going to pretend like I'm fully with you, so go right ahead.
So XMProd is in the IoT space, and we
XM, what did you call it?
It's called XMProd.
XMProd.
Yes.
P-R-O-D?
Yes, PROD, one word. So they're in the IoT, or they're in the utility space actually, and what they've done is they've worked with our IoT technology to transform the utility space. So they used to have these physical boxes to secure the grid and make it reliable and to do performance upgrades. And what they've done is they worked with IoT edge technology to make this now a virtual upgrading system. And so they posted that solution onto Ecosystem Exchange. So you can find it. So if you're in the utility space, let's say those verticals that exist, you can go on there and see them. Maybe that's something that will work for you, and you can reach out to them, as a Cisco buyer. And leverage that solution.
Okay, now pressure on you, Charles. GitHub success stories. Obviously, everybody's familiar with GitHub, and I'm glad we're engaged at that level as well. But is there anything that you would like to highlight in terms of say, hey, this is a great example of the kind of the value that's being driven out of Code Exchange? Yeah, sure.
So with Code Exchange, we're really catering for both users of it and contributors to it. So, we really our target audience for the users is the DevNet community. We have over 500,000 developers, and the idea is that we want to provide code that they can use. For example, let's say you're working on a project related to network programmability, and it involves netconf and Yang, and you want some code that's written in Python. So you can enter that into Code Exchange, and you'll get back a set of repos that match your specific needs. Now, we also welcome and encourage contributions to Code Exchange. And so the idea there is that you can not only be giving back to the community, but at the same time, you're actually really building your own personal developer cred, and also getting some great exposure for your company and the products and solutions that you offer. And a great example of this is Joel King. So he works at Worldwide Technologies, and he contributed a repo in which he shows how to use Ansible together with Cisco Tetration in order to create security policies and telemetry streaming for hybrid clouds. So that's great for the exchange, great for the users, great for him and his company. So to contribute to Code Exchange, you go to Code Exchange, developer.cisco.com/Code Exchange. In the top right, you'll see a button. Click to submit. You fill out a form, which includes your GitHub repo, a link to it, and then we'll take a look at it.
Okay, I love that. So guys, we're just wrapping up here. Any final point that you'd like to make? I love what you've got there, so we know where to go.
Yeah, now it's my plug turn. So it's developer.cisco.com/ecosystem. So, and if you want to hit the Exchange site, it's developer.cisco.com/exchange. So go there and you can see both and figure out what your path might be, and some of those paths might overlap, but that's where you can go to find both exchanges.
Well, in that developer.cisco.com, just to broaden it back up just for a moment here, is really handy to keep a bookmark on because the learning resources, I, as a person who does not code but want to be cool and hang out with people like yourselves, I find that very approachable. And I think more people should, because I like your focus on learning. I was thinking the word shaming, but I don't want that associated with it, because there's absolutely zero shaming or zero reservations anyone should have about going here, because at the very least you could have nothing and just enjoy hanging out with all the cool, awesome people who are wanting to share and make things easier and saying, hey, don't waste your time, don't reinvent the wheel. We may already have something for you, we're going to make it fun to interact.
We're happy to share.
You guys are awesome. I love what you're doing over there. There's so much more we could spend time on. In fact, why don't we go back out on the floor and see if Steve can share some more with us.
Rob, this is what I'm all about. I'm a sharing, caring kind of a guy. So that was Rob just tossing over to us. I'm hanging out with Veer back over here on this side. Say hi.
Hi.
See, he does everything I tell him to do. We are going to continue to talk DevNet as we run up to the Innovation Showcase and what Susie is about to do. And as you can see, right now we're hanging out in the security area for DevNet. And the security story with DevNet is interesting. We were doing it a moment ago with Kareem. We started to step into the area of security APIs. We're going to talk about Umbrella, Firepower, and so on. So do me a favor, give us a quick overview of what we've got going on back over here. And you can sort of fill us in on the details, and then we'll dive in a little deeper.
Okay, great. Thanks, Steve. So what we have here is a very interesting game. You play as a role. In that role, you're a security analyst, and you have given a challenge to defend your company against ransomware. So basically what you do is you play that role. It's a storyline. Within the storyline, we put challenges for you, and those challenges are that you look at some observables which are given to you by some third party, and those you then use our technology underneath, which is Umbrella, which is Threat Grid, which is AMP, and try to figure out whether those observables are reliable and whether you should defend against them or not. And then once you figured out using Umbrella, using Threat Grid, and using AMP, you actually then deploy those and try to defend in the firewall, which is Firepower Firewall. So that's the whole challenge is about. So if you did everything correct, you are on the leaderboard. If you did not do everything correct, you get fired, basically.
Basically, I've been fired, and I promise I'm not on the leaderboard. I just want to kind of take a look. I know I'm making you guys work. Can we swing in a little bit and get just a little closer look at what the guys are doing back here behind us? What is the success rate so far of people playing the game? Are they getting it? Is it making sense to them? Are they doing really well at it?
So it's because we made it simple and there's a lot of help is there are a lot of people who are able to actually complete it. And another thing which we want people to walk away is that everything this game is doing is using APIs. So Umbrella APIs, Firepower APIs, AMP APIs, ThreadCrate APIs. So in the background, the whole game is interacting with our technologies using APIs. And you can learn more about them on developers.cisco.com. We have videos there. We have put videos around Umbrella APIs, how to use them, how to code against them. We have very good collection of videos for Firepower APIs, how to code against Firepower APIs. So yeah, we have a lot of content on developer.cisco.com, which you can use. And you can build something like this, an interactive game, or you can do some serious defending in your organization.
It's really cool. One of the things that I think we always have to keep a really bright eye on is how do we invite more people into the DevNet community? We were, again, having a conversation a moment ago that there are still people out there who feel a little intimidated to get involved. Are most of the people playing the game folks who are already within DevNet? Are they people who are relatively new to DevNet?
Yeah, so most of the people, I think we did this challenge in US, Cisco Live US, and it was extremely popular. And believe it or not, we did this same challenge in Black Hat USA. And they have security experts there mostly attending, and they also enjoyed the game. So the skill level, both skill level can enjoy this game. We made it accordingly. The main walkaway is that how easy it is to use our technology, especially Umbrella, ThreadCrate, Firepower. And we want people to understand that, and DevNet can help them interact with these APIs much better. You can learn to code against them. And we have Coding 101, Coding 102, a lot of interactive courses which you can use. On developers.cisco.com you can learn, and that will help you to jumpstart like doing most of your automation.
There are so many areas here at Cisco Live where people can get the gamification approach to learning about these capabilities. You mentioned AMP for endpoints, a really excellent thing for people to wrap their heads around. I got to ask, are people winning anything if they do a really good job at this?
So there is some prize. You should come over and play and have fun, and you will learn something.
It's win a date with Veer. He's not going to tell you that, but he's just up for dating. He's kind of open to any possibilities.
Absolutely.
No, this is really fun stuff. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm glad it's been so successful. We will see you at Cisco Live again in San Diego. We'll see you, I guess, Black Hat RSA maybe as well. Maybe.
I'm in Cisco Live Melbourne at the same time, which conflicts with RSA.
There you go. All right, fine. You can take the game there. Veer, thank you. Rob, we're going to head back up your way in the studio, which is just across the way. I'll wave at you as we give it back over to you.
Where is he? Where is he? Okay. Thank you, Steve. Appreciate you waving me over here. So yeah, we're not too far apart. Don't forget, the hub is the center of everything, including DevNet. We talked about Gateway a show or two earlier. We talked about, of course, the studio here. Social media is in the center with their ever-polite DJ who never overwhelms us whatsoever. And then a couple other things going on. Self-paced labs right behind us here. There is so much to do. This is the center of the hub, if you will, where everything is going on. But you know, if you get a chance to go wander through there, hopefully you got a feel for that, both with what Steve was covering from the area. DevNet has a lot of hands-on things. They've got a very clear demarcation that says, hey, if you are unsure of where to start here. It literally says, I almost see it, DevNet start here. So start there, but you're going to have trouble not being pulled into a bunch of other interesting things, from little mini theaters with guys doing demonstrations of various things that they've come up with, whether it be, hey, here's how I'm going to integrate Alexa to do your tweeting for you on your router. Speaking of which, I need to get them to do that for me. And then also, just any level of learning whatsoever. Extremely approachable and a whole lot of fun. Of course, Steve covering DevNet and security, which is part and parcel of everything that we do around here. But we're about to go over to the showcase in a moment. We're going to hear from Susie Wee, who is the grand poobah, if you will, the expert on everything about that we're doing here. I'm going to listen in because I want to learn a little bit more about where they're going next. Because as we mentioned earlier, and if you can't tell already, these things change fast. And that's exactly what they're built for. There's a team of evangelists that are ready to help you out with absolutely anything that you need. And it's going to be an interesting showcase. Susie never fails to put on a good educational presentation, if you will. So check out with DevNet, come by the social media area, come by, say hi with us at the studio. We've got Steve over here poking his head in, just trying to make a scene, maybe help me buy some time before we go to the showcase. All right, Steve, thank you. Appreciate you just seeing if he can break my concentration, which really isn't that hard. Actually, just anything shiny around here does it quite easily. But we're heading over to the Innovation Showcase, I believe, in just a moment. How much more time do we have? I'll just ask. 20 more seconds. Okay, that's still accurate. Okay, fantastic. We've got a shot of it I think we'll be seeing in just a moment. But Susie Wee going to talk to us about what the latest happenings are with DevNet, how you can get involved, how to interact. This is the place to be, so check back after the showcase. We'll be sure and help you out with even more. You guys take care. Over to the showcase right now.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the Innovation Showcase Theater. My name's Toby, and I have the pleasure of being your host today. Now, we all know that to thrive in the new world of digital business, companies have to stay on top of innovation like never before. So we're bringing you 11 sessions here at the Showcase, Innovation Showcase, where we're going to share with you, gosh, sometimes it happens, believe it or not. So we're going to be sharing with you, and we're going to be sharing with you the latest solutions. That's what's looking up. Service innovations and best practices, which we know will inspire and engage you here at Cisco Live 2019. Now, today we'll be exploring the world of DevNet. And to tell us about using DevNet to drive innovation, business disruption, and cultural change, please give a warm welcome to Susie Wee.
Thank you. Good afternoon. So thank you all for coming here. And what I wanted to do with you today is talk to you about where we've been with DevNet, how we've advanced, and how we've evolved. And you know, DevNet is more than just technology. DevNet is about technology and APIs. It's about our people. It's about innovation, and it's about business disruption. And what many people have said is, I've learned about some of this software, I've learned about this technology. How do I go back to my organization and get everyone else to jump in and adopt these? And that's why I just wanted to say that it's also about cultural change. It's about changing how we use these new technologies, how we build our solutions, and make broader change across. To start out, I want to first of all thank you. I want to thank all of you because together, what we've done is that we have changed the networking industry. If you go back 5 years ago, there was a time when networkers, people did not expect that networkers would be able to do software. It seemed like it was a different world. It seemed like the industry was going to be disrupted and the people were going to be displaced. But what we've seen is that our community has come together. Our community is understanding the value of software, learning about it, and all of you have put in all of the hard work to make this happen. And so I want to thank you, because together we've changed the industry. Together we built DevNet, and you're the heroes in this transformation. Thank you. So what I want to do is show you some of the progress that we've made together as a community since Cisco Live US in June. So over the last 6 months, back in June, we actually announced that we hit 500,000 registered DevNet members. In the 6 months that's followed, we've grown to 550,000 members. So we got 50,000 new members in the last 6 months. Our DevNet ecosystem has grown. We have 108 new partners that have come on, and we have over 1,800 ecosystem solutions in DevNet. And in our Solutions Plus program, we've brought 8 ISVs to Cisco's global price list, so that their software can be distributed by our ecosystem to our customers around the world. In addition, we were taking a look at the business impact of Cisco and trying to understand that. We went back and we looked at all of Cisco's partners, and then we simply found which ones had DevNet members and which ones did not. And what we found is that the partners that had DevNet members grew 10 points more than those who do not. They didn't grow 10% more, they grew 10 points more, which is very significant. They've also had a greater product mix. Instead of being involved in 3 product areas, they're involved in 8 product areas. So they have broader portfolios that they're offering to their customers. So what we're finding is that partners who leverage DevNet are growing faster than those who don't. And we didn't say that we're necessarily the cause of that, but certainly it shows the investment that you're making and what you're learning to differentiate your business. Now let's also talk about what we've done in Europe. So our community in Europe makes up over 1/3 of our DevNet community. We have 37.5% of DevNet's members are in EMEA. These members have taken over 34,000 learning labs. You're learning, you're transforming, picking up these new skills. We've also had DevNet Express events across Europe. We've had 34 DevNet Express events over 21 different countries. And in addition, we've partnered with our countries to create and work on the DevNet ecosystem in our countries. And so specifically with Italy, we've opened up a new academy in Italy, and we've been working to build out the developer ecosystem. We've held a DevNet Connect event in Portugal to work with the local partners and app developers there as well, and we're continuing to grow throughout Europe. So now let's step back and talk about what's happening in the industry and what this means for all of you. As we know, all of your CEOs have very tough business problems in their mind. Every industry is being disrupted. All of the traditional businesses are being disrupted by new digital disruptive players. And what happens is, in order to compete, what I found is that IT holds the keys to success. With your IT systems, you can keep your IT systems the way they were. You know, what's the traditional business, what's gotten you successful to where you are is a lot of legacy, it's a lot of knowledge, it's a big knowledge base. And it's been a great system that served you well over time. But now to compete with the new players, you have cloud players, we have application developers, microservices, it's a whole new world, and IT holds the success. If IT modernizes your infrastructure and adopts these new best practices, then you can compete in this new world of digital disruption, and it's our job to jump in and do that. Now let me give an example within the retail industry, but this applies across all industries. So let's take a look at what's happening in retail, and please think about your own industry as I describe this. So what we're finding is, just thinking about the customers first, customers are shopping online and in physical stores. And if you take a look of yourself as a shopper, sometimes you do your online shopping, sometimes you're in the store, but basically you're searching for what you want, you're visiting a store or a site, navigating through your choices, checking out to buy something, and then you fulfill, and sometimes you need customer support. But you have different channels. You can do this online, and you can do this in physical stores. And what happens is, often, the back-end IT systems are very different. What you've done to build out a physical store is very different from how you source online. A retailer might have acquired a company that does the online portion, so once again, different IT systems. And yet customers expect one experience. So what we find is that traditional retailers face the biggest competition from these online retailers, but they have an interesting advantage because most physical purchases happen in physical stores. Believe it or not, 88.1% of purchases in 2018 happened in physical stores. So it turns out the traditional retailer has a tremendous advantage there because they have the stores. But really the key is, how do we mix that, the traditional with the digital, to make the right thing happen? So the other thing to notice is, in the retail industry, there's room for innovation. And there's room for innovation to win customers. And this comes from blending the digital and the physical experience. So what do I mean there's room for innovation? It's just like, as a shopper, you are still looking for new things. And I went out and I asked all my friends, and I asked, actually on social media, what are your magic moments in shopping? And if we take a look at around, we get different answers from around the globe. So in the Americas, it's something like, I bought my things online, then I had my kids in the car, I was driving, I pulled up into the store, and then my goods were delivered to my car. I never had to take my kids out of the car. Amazing blend of online and physical. When I talked to some of my team in Asia, and I told them about it, blink, blink, they couldn't relate to it at all. Because they don't have big cars and drive up to big stores. They're on 2-hour train commutes, and they're mobile, they're out. But what happens there is that mobile is a way of life. They're using their mobile phones for everything, people are understanding them, that's kind of the key. So if we go over to Europe, then we have an interesting thing where you have synchronized inventory and pricing. You can go out and buy something, and when you buy something, you get the price at the last minute. The systems look for the best price online and in person and give you the best price. So these are all great examples, but they're examples where digital and physical come together. And what happens is, how can you take your system and make it able to handle this area? Well, the one thing that I can say is, how do you take your systems and blend them so you can deliver these great experiences? It's hard. Disruption is hard. It's actually hard to kind of make that update to say, I'm going to modernize and be able to blend all this. But our advice is be bold and start now. Start that transformation now. And in retail, what we tell people is first, make the store a destination. You have the advantage because people go there. Make it a place not just where you see products on the shelf, but where you let people experience things. Gain intelligence from when they're there. Find out where they're spending their time, the way you can find out where people spend time online. So learn more, maximize intelligence with every interaction. And you can do this by making a programmable store. And what do I mean by that, and how does this apply across industries? So if we look across industries, what we're saying is no matter what you're in, banking, manufacturing, industry, retail, make your infrastructure programmable. As you make your infrastructure programmable, offer infrastructure services in which you can offer these programmable services. Also, offer application services that allow you to continuously deploy applications across this programmable infrastructure, and that lets you create new experiences for your customers, your users, or your IT and OT operators. The full stack looks like this, where we have multiple products that can actually fill different areas of the stack. And I don't have to go over all of it now, but these are available, and now what we're going to do is actually show you some different examples of how this comes to life. So that gave a framework, but now what I'd like to do is take the DevNet approach of see it, learn it, code it, where we're going to show you what can be done. We're going to teach you about what's going on with the technology behind the scenes, and then show you how you can code it and how we have resources available for you to use it. So first of all, we're going to talk about creating new experiences in retail and doing this with Meraki Beat. And I'd like to invite up Ashutosh Malagankar.
Hi, Susie.
Hi there. Thank you for coming up. And he is our principal engineer in DevNet, and he also runs our co-creations, where we create innovative solutions for our customers.
Yes, thank you. So as you saw, right, Susie talked about blending like the infrastructure with the online world in the retail space. What I would like to do today is give you a flavor of the stack that she showed for the retail stores. And one of the things that you'll see is we took this stack and built out a solution for a retailer. And some of the technologies that we used in the infrastructure were Meraki cameras, the Wi-Fi. The second thing is in terms of the services, it could be the location services. Also, like if you look at here, like we have a partner called MishiPay, and we have incorporated some of their technologies in building out their solution. What MishiPay does is it takes in RFID tags, and they're able to actually like scan different items in the store. So what you'll see now is a flavor of an example of what we did. So just imagine, right? I mean, this is a store where one of the trends that is happening now in the industry is more and more retailers are offering a mobile app. And with that mobile app, you'll be able to download a particular application. You see a device or an item, you scan it, and you go and go check out. So what we did is at a store that we built, this is like, as an imagination, just imagine that you're at a store, and with the real demo that we did, we said that like with your mobile app, you scan item number 1, then you go in, you scan item number 2, and then once you're done, you basically say, hey, check out. And this is a great experience. You're not standing in the queue, and you're walking out of the door. But from the retailer point of view, it's actually bringing in some new problems to them, which are good problems to solve. So one of the things is they need to actually understand if there are items that are walking out of the store without being paid for. Second is that they also want to know like what item it was and who really took that item. So what we did in this demo is like these RFID tags that were on each of the items. As they left the store, there were RFID readers on the doors, and they tagged, basically they activated. As soon as they got activated, they sent a message to Meraki Cameras, where we actually went and looked at the Meraki Cameras, pulled out the data, and showed that information on the digital signs from Cisco Vision. So that was a workflow that we built for this demo and the retail use case. Now, in terms of like, I'm moving on to like Susie, what she talked about, the see it, code it, and learn it. So what you saw was the see it. In the learn part, basically what we did is we recently open sourced a project called Meraki Beat. And this is an awesome project for everybody out there. The reason it is like it talks to Meraki on one side, be it the health APIs, it could be the location APIs, or even the camera APIs. What you could do is you can bring in all that data into the Elasticsearch stack, which is the ELK stack as we talk. Once it is in Elasticsearch, you could write various different applications on top of that. And in this case, what we did is we took the RFID readers, the tags, MishiPay, and sending that information into Elasticsearch. And from the Elasticsearch, we got that message saying that the tag left the store, and we were able to like call the Meraki APIs and get that information from the Meraki and send a trigger on the digital signs. So this was the demo that we actually built out, and this is the
And so in this case, the Meraki APIs are shown on the left side, but they're actually just calls to the actual Meraki access points.
That's
and
correct.
You're getting all this information from there and putting it into the pipeline.
That's correct.
Excellent.
So like, the next question that's going to like arise in your mind is like, okay, how can I build it for myself? Now, one of the things is that, as I said, Meraki Beat is an application that is on our code exchange. So definitely go and download it at the link that we have shown here. Also, the integration that we did with MishiPay is also in there. So the MishiPay, the Meraki camera, as well as the Cisco Vision integration is put out there for the community to start using. And finally, before I leave, one of the things that we also mentioned is the MishiPay is available on our DevNet ecosystem. So definitely take a look at that, and you'll be able to like see how you can integrate their solutions in your solutions as well. Thank you.
So you're saying that MishiPay is a product. It's a product made by some DevNet ISVs who are developers.
It is.
And our retailers or partners who sell retail solutions can buy it today and include it in their solutions.
Absolutely.
Excellent. Great.
All right. Thank you, Susan.
Thank you, Ashutosh. So here we saw an example of a retail experience, the scan and go experience that we wanted to create with the stack. And that was built for real. It's a real system, and you can get all of the code on Code Exchange. And then you can also even get the solutions on DevNet Ecosystem Exchange. So now let's move to another part of the stack as we're looking at the full stack. A big problem that comes up is automation. So everybody has a lot of equipment. People are trying to do new things and trying to manage it. And automation is a key benefit of programmability. So let's talk about the infrastructure services that can come together through the stack and the automation that we can build from it. So once again, if we take a look at the full stack, what we have is the programmable infrastructure. And on top of the programmable infrastructure, we have some infrastructure services. So you want to think about exposing your infrastructure as infrastructure services. And now if you kind of go back to retail, then we're thinking about the stores, let's think about the IT systems underneath them. In those IT systems, you might have your data center that has a lot of your business critical data operating as a private cloud. Sometimes you're interfacing with the public cloud. And then you have the physical stores themselves. And each store has its own IT system. And of course, these are all connected. And again, this is a geographically distributed IT system. And so now what we're going to do is take a look at how the stack can be used in two use cases. So one use case is how can we roll out new services across stores? And we're going to show an example using Cisco Meraki. And in the second use case, we're going to show how do you open up a new store or open up a new branch and spin this up and have the full connectivity that you have in the same security as all of the other things. And we're going to use Cisco SD-WAN for this. To talk about this in our See It, Learn It, Code It style, I'm bringing up Mandy Whaley, who's my Senior Director of Developer Experience for DevNet.
Thank you, Susie.
Thanks, Mandy.
Thanks so much. All right. OK, so like we said, we're going to go through two examples that take us through the See It, Learn It, and Code It. In the first one, we're going to work with Meraki. And we're going to look at where we want to bring up many different sites that are geographically distributed. And we're going to bring up network services. We're going to claim network devices, do some configuration. but we're going to do it through a chat bot, so a completely different style of interface for doing some of those operations. All right, so the pieces of the stack that we've been talking about that we use in this particular example is the Meraki wireless infrastructure. We're going to use the dashboard APIs, which let us do device configuration and set some of the things about how we want those devices to operate. And then we're going to use WebEx Teams to build the chatbot. So we start off, we ask our chatbot to start creating our organization in Meraki. And we give it the email of the owner who's going to own this administration, and it starts setting it up. And we can see that in the Meraki dashboard. Here's our organization, but no sites yet, no networks. So let's deploy a site. And you can see it saying, let's deploy Barcelona, Spain. And then it has a list of other sites we're going to bring up at the same time. And as we go back and look in the dashboard, we look at our overview, and we can see these sites starting to come up. And that's all being done through automation driven from that chatbot. And we can see there's still more sites from our list coming up. And when it's done, they're all there in our dashboard. And now we're ready to start configuring and doing some things with these networks. So let's say we want to set up the pre-shared key. So we can go to access control. We can see right now these networks don't have one specified. It's not set up at all. We can go back to our bot, and we can actually ask to set up and update that pre-shared key. So we're going to specify the password, Cisco Meraki. And now what it's doing is, it's not just doing that for one network, it's doing them for all of them that are being managed by this organization. And we can verify that it is set up. So all of those operations we could have done completely from this chat interface without having to pop over into the dashboard. And what's great about that is if you have multiple teams, they're watching these sites come up. Maybe it's IT, and then the people who will be in the stores getting them set up. They can all be there communicating in this space together.
So you basically just use the bot, and in doing that, you just deployed a network.
Yes.
You set up the SSIDs across, and at the end, you unrolled it.
Yep. You're done.
Excellent.
And so this is, if we want to go a little deeper into Learn It, this is what's going on behind the scenes. We've got WebEx Teams, and the users are in there sending commands to the bot and talking with each other. And the bot is an application that we wrote. It's running in AWS. It uses Lambda functions. It uses the Amazon API gateway. And what it's doing is it's sitting there, it's listening for those requests, and then it's calling the Meraki dashboard APIs. And that's where it's asking it to create a network, configure a device, do all of those things.
And so once again, these are all APIs that are just out there available, and then as you set these up, it's a service available to everybody.
Yep. And you can find out how to write these kind of applications on DevNet. We've got many examples in Code Exchange about how to create bots. We've got learning labs and sandboxes that help you use all the Meraki APIs. So you can go to DevNet right now and build an application like this today.
Great, awesome. Thank you. And Mandy, do you have another example for us?
I do have another example. So I also wanted to look at Cisco SD-WAN. And in this case, we're going to look at kind of when we're getting ready to really open that new store, and we want to make sure that all of our policies and configuration and everything is set up correctly for that new branch. All right, so the pieces of this stack we're going to be using, Cisco SD-WAN at the infrastructure level. We're going to be using the device and configuration and policy APIs from vManage. And then it's really the IT operator who would be using this particular application that we're going to write. So we've got this distributed view of our stores and our IT. We've got our headquarters, private cloud, public cloud, and then all of the stores underneath. And we want to add a new store. In this situation, we have vEdge routers at each one of those stores. And we want to make sure that they are providing the exactly identical services at the stores. And we want to avoid configuration drift by going in and configuring each one of them separately. And so what we can do is use a feature called a template that exists in vManage. And that lets us set that up, and then we can attach that template to the new device. Now it's online, it has the same policies, it behaves like all the other stores. And what's great is that all of these things about managing the devices, managing the templates, attaching the template, we could do using APIs. And I want to show you a quick example of actually running some code for that. All right, so I think we will switch over. Now we're good. All right, so you could start on our Cisco SD-WAN API developer site. And it's got loads of information about how to use the APIs. But you may just want to also dive right in and start writing some code. And you may think, is there some code out there that already does this thing she talked about with attaching templates and doing all of that? And that's where Code Exchange comes in. Code Exchange is where our community can share their code. So I could go in here, search for SD-WAN, and I can find this example. And it's a full project, and if I read it, it does this functionality of attaching the templates. So I can actually just clone it, get it on my computer from GitHub, and I'm ready to go. Like someone's already done quite a bit of work to get this ready for me to start learning from and trying out. So we're going to just dive right in and run this and see what it looks like. All right, so the first thing that I need to do is get a list of devices. And the function that does that is called, to get back to it, device list. So we're going to run this device list function. This is going to go call the Cisco SD-WAN DevNet sandbox. And it's bringing us back a list of all the devices that exist in that sandbox. And then the other thing I want to know is, what about the templates? What templates currently exist? And we're going to get our template list. And so this is going to go, same thing, call the sandbox, get the list of templates, and bring it back. Where's my templates? Here we go. So we can see there's two templates, the basic template and a test template. And we can see that this basic template has two devices attached to it currently. And I'd like to know which devices those are. So I'm going to run a function called attach devices. And I give it the template that I'm interested in. So now it's going to go back, call the sandbox. It's calling the APIs that are specified for getting that list of attached devices. And there is store 1 and store 2, currently attached and using that template. And what I'd like to do is attach our third router to use that same template. So I'm going to call a function called attach. And this goes off. This is doing a number of things, calling those APIs. And then I can verify by calling that same list again to see if the third one has been added yet. Here it comes, and we can see there's the third store. The template is applied, policy is set, and that store is up and ready to go. So.
Excellent. So it was a little bit tense trying to see if that third store was going to come up.
Yes.
And it came up.
Thank you.
Excellent. So Mandy, you can also show us resources and there's places we can get all this.
Yes, there's one thing I did want to show you that back on the site, we do have a full set of learning labs that can show you from beginning to end that whole example that you can build yourself. And this is a sandbox where you can start to play with, explore, build on top of all of the Cisco SD-WAN APIs. And we also have some really great videos that can walk you through if you like video tutorials as well.
Excellent.
Great.
Thank you, Mandy. And Mandy's going to show us some more in a little bit. I'll take the clicker.
Yes. Oh, sorry.
Thank you. OK, so we've been talking a lot about giving an example in the retail industry. We actually showed doing some automation through infrastructure services. But as you know, these apply across all industries. Now what we're going to do is we're going to jump over to the IoT side of the house. So as we know, here at Cisco Live, we've had some great announcements around IoT. And so now what we're going to do is jump into the software side, because what IoT enables is edge computing, and we have a lot for you here on DevNet. So as Liz Antonia was saying, as she presented in the keynote, and as she presented in her innovation talk, we talked about Cisco's IoT strategy. And in our IoT strategy, we are driving intent-based networking to the IoT edge. Now, the part that I get excited about is that, in addition, we're also driving developer innovation to the IoT edge. And what happens is our new industrial edge routers have iOS XE, which enables intent-based networking. In addition, it has IOX, which allows it to host applications and containers on the device, and this enables edge computing. So we have both sides of this. Now, many developers are excited about edge computing, and the idea of it is not new. the excitement of edge computing has been around for many years, but it hasn't quite realized itself in some industrial and enterprise and kind of real-world environments. And why not? It's because we've had this chicken and egg problem. So yeah, we can write an edge computing application, but where's the edge computing infrastructure where I can deploy it? And well, why should we make infrastructure? Because we don't have the applications yet. But with Cisco's new routers, and what we've included for these edge routers is that we have now enabled an edge computing infrastructure that allows these edge computing applications to be built, and we've just broken or kick-started this cycle. And so if we take a look at developers, well, as developers, they've been empowered, greatly empowered to write mobile apps. They've been greatly empowered to write cloud applications. And again, with what's happening now with our new IoT portfolio, developers are now empowered to also write edge computing applications for a number of real-world environments. Now let's take a look at why do we need edge computing? Well, let's take a look in these different settings. So in manufacturing we have a number of, just really high-speed operations. You have like real manufacturing, real equipment, real physical operations that are going on. You have low latency and high performance requirements. You can be getting data of all sorts of things happening. You don't want to send that data off into the cloud, analyze it, get a decision, and come back and decide what your machine should do next. So that's a great environment in which edge computing is really important. Another example is retail. We just talked a lot about the store scenario. And here is where you have these very geographically distributed physical locations. Each store is a unit in itself, and it has to work really well. Edge processing and edge computing is really important for retail stores to be able to operate. In utilities, so in the keynote, we heard from the utilities industry. We saw examples of where there's substations and things that need a lot of automation and control. And there, you're interfacing with physical systems. You're interfacing with brownfield deployments. And in these areas, it's another place where you need a lot of edge computing to be able to handle what's going on in those environments. And finally, transportation in cities. So this is a case where you have just roads, railways, waterways. And in all of this, you have a physically distributed infrastructure. In addition, you have cars, you have boats, you have trains, you have mobile and moving things. So let's take a look at that example some more. And what we're going to do is now show you the full stack, but with IoT. So here what we have is our new products, our new industrial routers that are available. And then for infrastructure and application services, we have Kinetic. And in this case, it does both device and application management. And now we have edge computing, and we can appeal to IT and OT operators and the Internet of Things. So if we take a look at the example, let's take a look at police cars. So in this case, and there was an example that Liz had talked about, which was Swisscom in the city of St. Gallen, in which there were police cars that are going around, and what Swisscom did was help them get connected. And the police officers wanted an experience where, of course, the police officers are working in their cars. And if you take a look at those cars, there's wireless, there's laptops, there's tablets, there's dashboard cameras, there's all sorts of things that are happening in that mobile unit itself. And of course, there's many police cars moving around. And on them are the industrial routers. So in those cars, we have a router that's in the car. And if you think that they have to be managed, those are each gateways that need to be managed with a gateway manager. In our new products, what we have is we have IOX that's on those edge routers that allows applications and containerized applications to be hosted at the edge. And in addition, we have Kinetic, which is a gateway manager that we can look at as well. And if we look at the capabilities, what happens is in the gateway management, we have Kinetic and Field Network Director. You can actually do device management to manage all those gateways. But in addition, you can do application management to basically deploy and take care of those applications. And of course, on the devices themselves, you have IOX, which can, again, manage the applications and containers. And if you dig in a little bit, underneath these, there's APIs. So there's device management APIs that actually allow different groups of these gateways to be put into groups. You can have users or owners that are organized into memberships, in which you can say this group can claim this set of gateways, all the police cars, and take care of them. This other group can claim and take ownership of the ambulances. So this is how this works. And then on the application management side, there's a way to manage edge applications. to install and deploy those edge applications, to make sure that they're running, starting and stopping them, and so on. So now we're going to go back to our DevNet See It, Learn It, Code It to see some of this working in a fleet management operation.
Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
Mandy.
Thank you. So we wanted to dive in a little further on the police car example that you talked about. But think about managing the whole fleet of police cars and some of the information that you would want to keep track of. So that's the use case that we're going to dive into. And it starts with your enterprise network, right? And you have your team who's trained to use DNA Center to manage your enterprise networking. And what's great is that we have all of these new industrial ruggedized routers we're talking about this week. And those, they can be managed by DNA Center. And many of them run iOS XE as well. And so I have one of those here, which I'm really excited to show. This is the IR 1101. So this is one of the new routers. And it's really cool. It's got some onboard sensors, like gyroscope and accelerometer and GPS. But can you guys see it in the back? Because it's really compact, right? Like you could have it. You cannot see it?
Can't see it?
OK, well, I thought that might be a problem. So I brought a bigger one as well so that you could really see it, right? So I'm very excited to show this. And
now, is that a real one? Do we have an application for that?
I haven't tried deploying to the edge on this one.
Okay. So it's a 3D printed model.
It's a 3D printed
of the
model.
One.
But I wanted to be sure you guys could see it. So let me grab my clicker again. So like I said, there are some really cool things about it. It has the onboard sensors, and it's also modular. So there are modular extensions that you can swap out and get new capabilities and new things. So we're really excited about that as well. But now let's talk about it in the police car. And we'd probably need this one in the police car, not this one, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So once it's there, then we can start connecting things like cameras and sensors, which means we're going to have data. And if we're going to have data, we need an application. And so that's where we want to start writing an application to work with that data. And this is where we can use Kinetic. Kinetic will let me write my application on my dev box using my favorite developer tools, and then very simply deploy that containerized application to the edge in the router.
Excellent.
And so now that I've got that custom application there, I can start taking in data, and parsing it, and normalizing it, decide if I'm going to send it to the cloud or to the private cloud. In this case, we're going to send it to a fleet management dashboard that's going to show us things like speed and if our check engine light is on and some things like that. So let's take a quick look at that. So I'm going to start in Kinetic. And you can see that I have a gateway set up. And I want to deploy an application to this gateway. So I have some applications already loaded in. But if I want to add a new one, I can say add application. And it's really as simple as taking my packaged application and dragging it in to load it into Kinetic. But then once that application is there, I need to install it onto my edge device. So I can choose install, and then I can select my device that I want to deploy it to. Now that could be one device, that could be the devices in your whole fleet. And then I click install, and it goes out and installs that application. So in this particular fleet management case, then we would start getting back some of that information from the OBD2 interface, like check engine, mileage, speed, and we can start to manage our fleet. Awesome. So that was see it and learn it. But how do I do it? You can go to DevNet, and that's where you can find the API documentation for the Kinetic APIs, and the new IoT Dev Center, which has use cases, learning labs, sandboxes, everything you need to build that application, package it up, and get it onto the device.
Excellent. Awesome.
All right.
Thank you so much, Mandy.
Thank you.
Great job, Mandy.
Oh, I got to turn it.
Excellent. OK, good job. Did you guys like the big version, just so you could see it? Excellent. So, okay, so we've shown you a lot of great technologies. We showed you Meraki, we showed you SD-WAN, we showed you Kinetic and IOX. So now let's take a look at how we can continue to help you innovate. So some of the new things that we have, I'm going to tell you, we're actually launching new developer centers. So you've seen the IoT Developer Center, but we also have new developer centers for SD-WAN, ACI, as well as one on retail that you can go and get at developer.cisco.com. We have new APIs and we have new resources on Meraki. We have a new video course on security, which you can get a lot more on security. And we have design thinking, all available at developer.cisco.com to help you and your teams work together. In addition, I want to talk about DevNet Exchange. So they often ask, how many lines of code does a good developer write per day? You might say, oh, 200, 300 lines of code a day. And someone else said 0, because they know where to get the code. What we have is DevNet Code Exchange, where you can actually get repos from GitHub, source code that you can use to build these solutions today. So you can actually start and find solutions in DevNet, and we have 338 repos there available. And then we have over 1,500 business solutions that are available on Ecosystem Exchange. With Ecosystem Exchange, what you can do is look at solutions that are available for purchase or that you can put into your products today. And here we show some of the new IoT solutions that we've onboarded, including SimCom for street lighting, Alianza for manufacturing, Eximprod for utilities. And again, these are products that can help you build complete solutions with your programmable infrastructure today. I'm happy to announce that we have new DevNet learning paths. And we have DevNet learning paths where we actually have a series of learning labs in many of these different areas that you can actually get to say, I want to skill up in these areas in data center networking, Meraki, IoT, and get going today. And the way that you can get to this is also through your new DevNet profile and dashboard. So if you just log into DevNet at developer.cisco.com, in the upper right-hand corner, you actually see your mobile, and you can do it from your mobile device as well, but you see your little icon, you click on it, you'll actually get your dashboard, which can then point you to these learning paths that we're releasing, and go right to those learning labs and take them right from your mobile device. So it's a great way to get going. And something new in beta that we're announcing is that we have our new DevNet team dashboard. A number of partners have asked us that they wanted to train their employees and use our DevNet learning materials. And we love this. We love anyone to use our materials to train your other people. And so for this, we actually have created a team dashboard so that the owners of these organizations can take a look and give training to their teams, track the progress of, and then also use this to find people who have expertise in certain areas. So some of the leaders have said, I don't know if someone has expertise in this security area. Customers asking for it can actually find which of your employees have actually taken learning labs in this area. So this is going to be, this is a new thing that we're offering for our partners. And what I'm very excited to talk about is another thing is, as you're learning to use these resources, a big important part of it is getting into the mindset of experimenting, coding, trying new things. And so we also offer DevNet developer competitions. And I'd like to bring Ashutosh to come back up as he leads our co-creations in our developer competitions to quickly talk about a new result and a new challenge that we just completed. And it was the Cisco and Google Cloud Challenge.
Yes. So recently what we did is in July of last year, we announced our challenge along with Google. And this was a way to show innovation that we can foster with our partners as well as developers. So this challenge ran for 6 months, and at the end of 6 months, we had a lot of registrations that came in, and then we had like 2 finalists and 2 winners that we are happy to announce today.
And so today, we have our new winners right here with us.
Yeah, the first one is Hcl Technologies, and they're here with us today. And along with them, we have the Booker and Sutter, along with the Expert Flow folks. So
and I'm going to ask them all 4 to stand up and turn around, face the audience, and face the cameras so that our people remotely can also see. And congratulations for the innovations. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Ashutosh is going to briefly speak to their innovations.
Yeah, so what the solution that Hcl actually provided was in the service provider space. And there was, this case was actually taking like aggregation data in on-premise as well as in the cloud. So this was a very good use case where they used the CCP as well as the GCP services to build a solution. The second one is from the expert flow. And this one is the hybrid chat application. This is a very interesting one because this is where like they could actually take, like if you're talking to a real person, you would be talking to a GCP, you'd be talking to somebody in the Cisco container platform. Versus like if you're talking to an AI-generated bot, then you'd be talking to somebody in GCP. So this is a classic hybrid cloud application that they've built. And in fact, like I was told that it is going live this week. So I'm very happy that this application is seeing the light of day. So congratulations to both of you.
Congratulations. Thank you, Ashutosh.
Thank you.
OK, so to wrap things up, I just want to remind you some of the things that we talked about. So as we talked about, IT is in a critical place, and IT can help solve business problems, especially as businesses are facing disruption from the whole new round of digital competitors. So by doing this, we recommended that, first of all, you need to get into creating new experiences, solving customer and business problems. You can get to this by maximizing intelligence with every interaction that you have. Collect that data, maximize the intelligence, and create an infrastructure where you can deploy innovative applications. So you can use innovations like the ones we just saw, and more that will come in the future by having that programmable infrastructure and being able to deploy new innovations. And you do this by making your infrastructure programmable. And we have many Cisco technologies that help you make a programmable infrastructure. We have the DevNet approach of see it, learn it, code it, and we have all of our resources available at developer.cisco.com. And we also have an app developer, where apps meet infrastructure conference called DevNet Create, which is happening in April, and you can find out about that at devnetcreate.io. So for those who want to start, and everybody has started, and I want everybody to start, we actually have something new here at Cisco Live, which is we have in the DevNet zone, we have a Start Now zone. It's a place where we're running Coding 101 and 102 classes all day long, where we have mentors, where we can ask questions and learn about DevNet. And even if you don't know, can DevNet help me? You can go there and talk to people to find out. And it is certainly to get you started in coding, but it is also for solutions architects and business developers who want to create solutions and look at the solutions that we have. And if you're online, you can do all of this at developer.cisco.com/startnow. And also take a look at your profile, where we have all of the tools that are available for your individualized learning as well. Thank you, everybody. Continue. Thanks.
And the brilliant Susie Wee, and I can't say Susie Wee without putting brilliant in front of it. She's just one of those people who inspires every time that she talks. Thank you for joining us for the Innovation Showcase, and we're glad to have you back in the Cisco TV studio. What Susie ended with right there, the Start Now program, first time we're ever showing that at a Cisco Live. We've got that mentorship program, take advantage of that. And she ended by talking about network programmability, and guess what? That's where we are going to begin here in the studio. I have got Hank Preston in here with me, one of our great developer advocates. How are you, Hank?
I am doing wonderful. Thank you so much for having me.
We get to talk this time. Usually you're talking to Rob, last time back in Orlando. Now you and I get to chat.
Absolutely. You know, I've had enough of Rob. I think we needed something fresh.
We all had enough of Rob. You didn't hear that, did you, Rob? He's out there there somewhere listening saying, don't talk like that about me. All right, so let's dive in and talk about network programmability, maybe even for people who don't really know what it's all about. Let's kind of go from a baseline and explain what we're doing here at Cisco.
Yeah, so the way that the networks have always been configured in the past has really been about kind of the CLI approach, the approach of diving in. Maybe we use some tools that were there, but with network programmability, we approach things slightly differently. We've got new interfaces and APIs and technologies and strategies to go after it. So at the end of the day, we're still configuring our network, providing the features that are out there, but we're doing it through computer systems that are repeatable, that we can test and validate. And for me, that's what programmability is about. It's driving consistency and scale and using our time more efficiently.
And I know that we are always trying to be as reactionary as we can to whatever it is that our customers are coming to us with. How are we strategizing the rollout of network programmability to make sure that we properly serve that customer base?
Yeah, you know, that's a big part of it. And it's actually a discussion that I've had a lot this week with folks, is they say, you know what, we've been playing with network programmability for a couple of years in the lab, right? We've toyed with it, it's safe, we feel comfortable with it. And so many people are ready to make that next step, use programmability to solve production network issues. And they're nervous, and I think justifiably nervous. And so what we've spent a lot of time on lately is making sure that the tools are ready, and then also giving strategies on how they can work programmability into their production networks, but do it in a safe way, where they can build confidence in the tools, build confidence in the programmability, and so that they can solve even greater challenges, but not be quite as worried about it as they go on.
Is that a big part of how we roll this out? It's good storytelling to let people know, don't worry, you're good. We're going to make it easy for you, we're going to keep it simple, we're not going to stress you, we're going to keep you secure as you go through this rollout process.
It really is. It's making sure that people have the confidence in what they're after. They're confident in when they type something in a CLI, what it's going to do. We have to make sure that they have the confidence when they use those APIs, it will do the same thing. And so we're getting the network engineers to have the confidence. The next step is to have the network engineers, managers have the confidence. Have everybody really comfortable with programming the network, and I think we're at this brink where people are ready for it. They're hungry to see the value of programmability, not just in the lab, not just when they're toying around with it, but in actual networks. And that's what makes me excited about all the things we're announcing and bringing to the table these days.
It's really cool. If people want to find out a bit more about what's going on with network programmability, where do they go, what do they look up?
Well, I think DevNet is the best place to go. So if you go to developer.cisco.com/start now, that's a great way to figure out what lessons, what new pieces are there. And if you're interested in the latest, be sure to sign up for our community. Get our newsletter. Every month we're saying what's the latest that's out there so that you don't fall behind.
Absolutely. I wish we had a ton more time to talk, Hank. We're going to cut this one a little short just because we're tight on time based on what happened out of Suzy Wee. We will talk very soon with you, I know. Thanks to all of you for tuning in. We're going to be back with you in just a moment. Stay put. All right. Glad to have you with us today, full day 2. We are having such a good time here at Cisco Live 2019 Barcelona. Remember to keep reaching out to us using hashtag #CLEUR. We want to hear from all of you, and we are hoping you will take the occasion to reach out and talk to us as much as you can. We're going to shift focus now, and we're going to begin to look at IT modernization. Rather than explain it here in the studio and kind of set it up, we're going to let a video do the talking for us. We've got Fabio Gori. He's our Senior Director of Cloud Solutions Marketing here at Cisco. Fabio's going to tell you all about it. As soon as the video is done, we'll be right back here live. Thanks for being with us.
All right, guys, welcome. Hey, it's so exciting. We are